Hi class. So I wanted to make make a short video here to give you some tips on how to better utilize StatCrunch in my math lab for homework sections 2.2 and 2.3. So this was an example in section 2.2 video where we were given unemployment rates by state for January 2019. We were asked to construct a frequency and relative frequency distribution of the data. Right. So remember, we calculated the class width using the equation and got 1. And we wanted to start the first class with the minimum number of 2.4, right? So if we just recall that problem, and then I showed you how to do this in StatCrunch. You can go to Stat, Tables, Frequency. We want to pick the rate variable, and I'll leave frequency, and I'll just select frequency here, and then if I hit compute, and then it's saying, well, there's a lot of values here. Let's turn on the binning procedure. We click on that, and it gave us this frequency distribution, right? And this frequency distribution wasn't necessarily incorrect for the one that we did. We just used different classes, right? And so StatCrunch automatically picked those bins, right? So what I want to show you now is how you can you can pick the bins that you would like StatCrunch to use, right? So to do that, what you have to do is add another variable in, right? So you're going to go to data, and then you're going to click on this bin column, and then we need to pick what column we want to put into bins. So we want to pick the rate column, and then if I use the automatic, that's going to do something what it just did, right? So I want to use fixed bin widths, and then you're picking these start at values and how big you want your bins to be, right? So in this case, we want my bin to start at 2.4, and my class width, my bin width was 1, right? And that's what we calculated before. And then the bin edges, we want to just include the left endpoint, right? So remember, here's our classes. This left endpoint was included, and the right endpoint was not, right? So if I click compute, now what it's doing is it added this new variable called the bin of the rates, and it's putting each of these in bins, right? So if I look at, like Arizona here as a rate of 4.9, it's telling me this bin, this 4.9 belongs in that bin. So then now what I can do is go to Stat, go to Tables, Frequency, and then I'm going to select the new variable bin rate, and then I'll leave frequency and relative frequency selected, and if I hit compute, this is the frequency relative frequency distribution using those bins that we wanted, right? And remember, we're including the leftmost value, not the right value, right? So then if you compare that to our table from before, right, you can see this matches up exactly with the work that we did, right? Notice though it skipped over the bin with 0 in it, the 7.4 to 8.4, right? It just skipped over that, but that's okay, right? So that's how you can pick your own bins, and this is going to be particularly useful in the 2.2, 2.3 homework. So as another example of this, here's a question in the 2.3 homework where it gives you number of elementary school students in 16 school districts. So I can, click on this button here to open up into StatCrunch. And if I go to Stat and then Tables, and then Frequency, and if I click number of elementary schools, we're looking for cumulative frequency. If I hit compute, notice it just gives me, a bunch of values over here. It's not doing the binning for me, right? So again, I need to add that variable in. So I'm going to go to data, I'm going to go to bin. I want to bin the number of elementary schools. We're going to fix this, so I want to start at 1,000, and my bin width, right? We would, to find the bin width, you can take the the lowest class value and subtract like two consecutive ones, right? So if I take 2,000 minus 1,000, that tells me my bin width is also 1,000. And if I hit compute, Now I've assigned each one of these into a bin. I can go to stat tables and then frequency, and then I'm going to use the bin number of elementary schools, and I can go to cumulative frequency, and then I believe the next part of this question is going to ask for cumulative relative frequency, right? So I could hold down control, or if you have a Mac, use command, and then I can hit compute, and it gives me these classes, right? So that 1000 to 1999 is the same thing as our 1000 to 2000 class, right? Because we're going from 1000 to 2000, but not including 2000 here, right? Because we indicated we were only including the leftmost values, right? All right. So then one other quick thing I just wanted to show you is if you go to like question number 4 in section 2.3 homework, right, you're answering some questions about this graph, right, but this graph is a little hard to read, right, and if you can try to zoom in, but you can only zoom in so far. So I highly recommend that you click on this button here, which pops out the graph into an easier to read graph, right? So don't try to strain yourself, strain your eyes. Just open up in a new window, and you can clearly see the graph, and I can hit OK. And then I can, answer a question. If I need to go back to the graph, I can click on the button again, or you can keep going back to that as many times as you would like, right? All right, so hopefully this is helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.